Before I begin this story properly, please like, share, and subscribe to Tales by Savvy Sam so that more people can learn from stories like this. Stories that correct wrong ideas in society and spread light instead of darkness. Now let me take you back to where it all started. My name is Ada, and I grew up hearing one common warning from aunties, neighbors, and Nollywood movies. Beware of stepmothers. They are wicked. It was almost like a proverb in our community. Everyone believed it. Everyone expected it. Everyone feared it. So, you can imagine my shock the day my father, Chief Adams, came home and announced that he was getting married again. It was a hot afternoon. The sun was resting on top of our zinc roof, making the house warm and uncomfortable. My mother, Madam K, was in the kitchen pounding yam, sweating but humming a soft song. My younger brother was outside chasing a chicken that didn't want to be caught. Everything felt normal, until my father walked in with a serious expression. "I have something to tell everyone," he said. We all sat down, confused. My mother wiped her face with the edge of her wrapper and faced him directly. "What is it, Adams?" My father cleared his throat, looked around the room, and dropped the bombshell. "I am getting married again." Silence. The type of silence that makes your skin rise. We all looked at him, then at each other, then back at him. My mother was the first to speak. "Married to who?" "A woman I'm seeing. Her name is Rose." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. My brother stopped breathing for a second. The chicken he was chasing even escaped. My mother stared at him like someone trying to understand a language she had never heard before. "Why? Adams, why do you want to marry another woman? Did I offend you? What is happening?" No explanation. No reasonable answer. Made no sense. My mother even asked, "Are you under a spell? Did this woman do something to you?" But my father simply said, "I love her. She is a good woman." That was all. No long talk. No story. Just a simple statement that changed our entire lives. A few weeks later we met Madame Rose. She was calm, soft-spoken, and respectful. She greeted my mother properly and didn't show any sign of pride or wickedness. But then again, we had all watched enough movies to know that the wicked ones always pretended at first. My aunties warned us. Neighbors whispered. People looked at us with pity, shaking their heads. "Stepmothers don't change," they said. "Just wait. She will show her true colors." Even my mother, although she behaved maturely, was quietly worried. But Rose surprised us. Every day, every week, every month. She cooked for us. She cared for us when we were sick. She prayed with us. She supported our school. She spoke to us gently. She treated us like we were her own children. One night, while plaiting my hair on the veranda, she smiled and said something I will never forget. "Ada, not all stepmothers are evil. People only talk about the bad ones because evil news travels fast, like Harmattan fire. Good people also exist." Her words stayed with me. Then life changed again, this time painfully. After a few years, my mother, Madam K, passed away. Our hearts were shattered. People cried. Some said life was unfair. Others whispered again, "Now watch. Rose will finally show her real evil." But they were wrong. Rose didn't change. Instead, she became even more caring, more protective, more motherly. She filled a void she didn't create. She wiped our tears. She cooked for visitors. She stood beside us at the funeral as if we were born from her own womb. People began to notice. They watched her for months, years, waiting for the wickedness to appear. Never did. Soon, the same tongues that once whispered became tongues that praised her. The community leader gave her an award. Then the church honored her. Then the local government recognized her officially. I remember the day we saw the billboard on our way to school. The best stepmother in Imo State. Not all stepmothers are wicked. Treat your stepchildren well, like Madame Rose. People stopped to take pictures. Children pointed at her face and smiled. Women said, "God bless this woman." Men nodded in respect. Society began to unlearn the lies it had believed for so long. And all because of one woman. Madame Rose, the kind heart that proved everyone wrong. This is her story. This is our story. And this is why I stand proudly today to say, my stepmother is a good woman. She treated my siblings and me with love, care, dignity, and tenderness, just like a true mother would. Growing up, I never imagined that love could come from someone who didn't share the same blood with me. Society had trained us to believe the opposite. Everywhere you turned, there were stories, warnings, and examples of stepmothers who mistreated the children they met in their husbands' homes. It was almost like a cultural law. Stepmothers are wicked. But life has a special way of surprising us, and Madame Rose, my stepmother, was God's way of rewriting a damaged narrative in our society. After my mother's burial, our lives became painfully quiet for a long time. The house felt empty, like someone had taken away the laughter, the smell of her favorite soup, and the rhythm of her footsteps. My younger brother cried every night. I held my pillow and cried silently because I didn't want anyone to hear me. My father kept to himself, burying his sorrow in long hours of work and silence. But Madame Rose refused to let the darkness swallow us. Every morning, she woke us up gently. Every night, she tucked us into bed like we were toddlers. And every Sunday, she made sure we went to church, whether it rained or not. She would sit beside me after church, holding my hand and whispering, "Ada, grief is heavy, but you are not carrying it alone. I am here." It didn't happen immediately, but slowly my heart began to trust her, truly trust her. One day, about 6 months after my mother's death, I fell sick. The kind of sickness that makes you feel like your bones are water. I couldn't eat. I couldn't stand. I couldn't smile. My father was away on a business trip, and my brother was still very young. It was Madame Rose who carried me on her back at night when I struggled to breathe. It was she who placed a cool towel on my head and sang softly, "Nwam Ojdi, my child, you will be fine." It was she who stayed awake while I slept, checking if my fever had dropped. By morning, she rushed me to the hospital. The doctor said if she had delayed a little longer, things might have gotten worse. That night, as I lay on the hospital bed, she sat beside me holding my hand. Not for a moment did she behave like I was a burden. Not once did she show fear, anger, or blame. She acted like a true mother, strong, present, loving. When I woke up from a short sleep, I found her praying. Tears rolled down her cheeks as she whispered, "God, don't let anything happen to this child. Treat her as my own. Give me the strength to care for her always." That was the moment everything changed for me. That was the moment I understood that motherhood is not only about blood. It is about the heart. Months passed, and our home became alive again. The laughter returned. The delicious aroma of food came back. My brother started calling her Mummy Rose on his own. My father looked lighter, as if a burden had been lifted off his shoulders. People in the village continued watching, waiting for the wickedness. But what they saw instead shocked them. They saw a woman who attended school meetings, paid our school fees when my father had financial delays, and defended us when neighbors spoke rudely. Once, an elderly woman in the village jokingly said, "Enemy, you treat these children like they came out of your womb." And Madame Rose replied with a smile, "Maybe not my womb, but definitely my heart." Her kindness didn't stop in our home. She cooked food for elderly neighbors, visited widows, volunteered at church, and started a small outreach group for girls in the community. People began to admire her, then respect her, then celebrate her. It became normal to hear someone say, "Ah, Madame Rose, that woman is heaven sent." Or, if all stepmothers were like this one, Nigeria would be a better place. One afternoon after school, I walked into the sitting room and found her sewing a torn button on my brother's shirt. She looked up and smiled. That smile had become a medicine for our home, gentle, warm, and comforting. "Come," she said. "Sit with me. Tell me how school was." As I sat beside her, I asked the question that had been in my heart for years. "Mummy Rose, why are you so kind to us?" She paused, lifted her eyes, and looked at me with a gaze full of sincerity. "Because I know what it feels like to grow up without love, she said quietly. And I promised myself that if God ever gave me a family, even if they didn't come through me, I would give them love that heals, not love that hurts. Her honesty touched something deep inside me. That day, I hugged her tightly, and she held me like a mother holds a child she never wants to lose. From that moment, I stopped calling her Madam Rose. I started calling her Mummy. Her goodness continued to shine, reaching beyond our home and into the entire community. She wasn't just a stepmother anymore. She was a teacher, a friend, a counselor, and a role model. When the community honored her, she cried. When the church honored her, she cried again. When the government celebrated her, she knelt and said, "To God be the glory." People began to understand that wickedness is not tied to the word stepmother. Character is not determined by title. It is determined by the heart. And Mummy Rose had the kind of heart that could light up an entire country. This chapter of my life taught me a powerful lesson. Love is not limited by biology. Love is a choice. And some people choose to love deeply, purely, and unconditionally. And my stepmother Rose, known proudly as Madam Rose, chose love every single day. If anyone had told me years ago that my stepmother would become one of the most respected women in our community, and even beyond, I wouldn't have believed it. Not because she didn't deserve it, but because society had already written a script for women like her. A script filled with suspicion, fear, and wickedness. But Mummy Rose was rewriting that script slowly, intentionally, and beautifully. Her transformation into a community figure didn't happen overnight. It started quietly, like small drops of rain before a storm. At first, it was the little things, the kind gestures that people noticed but didn't talk much about. A bag of Gary for a struggling widow. Medication for an elderly man whose children lived far away. Clothes for children who came to church barefoot. She would say, "A community grows when people choose kindness." And she didn't just say it, she lived it. One Saturday morning, something happened that marked a turning point. A young girl named Ifioma from a neighboring compound was crying outside our gate. She was about 12 years old, small and fragile, with eyes that always looked scared. Her father had been harsh with her again, beating her for breaking a plate. Before anyone could say a word, Mummy Rose rushed outside, lifted the girl into her arms and brought her inside. "Stop crying, my child," she whispered softly. "You are safe here." She cleaned her wounds, cooked food for her, and let her rest on our sofa. Later that day, her father came storming to our house, shouting and calling names. People gathered, expecting a fight. They loved drama, especially when it involved stepmothers. But Mummy Rose stepped outside calmly and said, "Brother, this child is not a goat. She is a human being with feelings. Correct her with love, not anger." The man went silent. Everyone went silent. They weren't used to seeing a woman, especially a stepmother, speak with such wisdom and courage. That incident changed everything. Parents began bringing their children to her for advice. Women came to her to settle disputes. Even men came to ask for counsel. She became a bridge in the community, someone people could trust. Another memorable moment happened at church. During a women's meeting, the topic of the day was stepmothers and their role in the family. Many women shared painful experiences. The room was filled with tears, bitterness, and anger. When they finished, Mummy Rose stood up slowly. She didn't raise her voice. She didn't shout or preach. She simply said, "Do not judge a stepmother by her title. Judge her by her heart. Every child deserves love, not because they came from your womb, but because they came from God." There was utter silence. Even the pastor looked moved. That day, 3 women left the meeting and went home to apologize to their stepchildren. Some even hugged their stepchildren for the first time in years. Her words had power, the power of truth backed by action. Soon the church recognized her. They asked her to lead a new committee called Families of Peace. The committee visited homes, encouraged reconciliation, and taught the importance of good parenting. Under her guidance, relationships healed, and broken families began to rebuild. One day, the community leader visited our home. He was an elderly man with a deep voice and a walking stick. "Madam Rose," he said, "your work has touched many lives. We want to honor you." She tried to refuse. Humility was her second nature, but he insisted. They held a ceremony at the town hall. People came from nearby villages. Women danced, men clapped, children sang. They gave her a plaque that read, "For love, service, and exceptional motherhood." My father cried that day, real tears. He held her hand and said, "I chose well." We all knew he did. But the recognition didn't stop there. The local government heard about her story. They invited her to speak at an event promoting strong family values. Reporters interviewed her. Newspapers wrote about her. She became a symbol of hope, a living reminder that goodness still exists. It was after this that the government built the billboard, the one that read, "Best stepmother in Imo State. Be kind like Madam Rose." The whole city talked about it. People took pictures and posted them online. Messages poured in from people we had never met. "I wish my stepmother were like you. You have changed my mind about stepmothers. You give us hope." But do you know the most beautiful part? Mummy Rose never changed. She remained the same humble, gentle woman who cooked our meals, prayed for us, and hugged us when we cried. She didn't let fame or admiration change her heart, because her heart had always been rooted in love. One evening, as we all sat on the veranda enjoying the cool breeze, I looked at her and said, "Mummy, you have touched so many lives." She smiled and replied, "Ada, you don't need power to make a change. You just need a willing heart." Her words sank deep into my spirit. I knew she wasn't just raising us, she was shaping us, teaching us, inspiring us, and she was teaching our community too. Because by loving us, children who were not biologically hers, she proved that goodness is not a rumor, kindness is not a myth, compassion is not an accident. She proved that not all stepmothers are wicked. Some stepmothers like her are angels walking among us, and the world is better because of them. As the news of Madam Rose's kindness spread beyond our community, something remarkable began to happen. People from different parts of the state started coming to our home just to meet her. First, it felt strange. We were used to being a simple, quiet family. But suddenly, our compound became a place of refuge, guidance, and inspiration. Some came with stories of broken homes. Some came with wounds caused by harsh stepparents. Some came simply to learn from her. And the most surprising thing, she welcomed them all with open arms. One particular afternoon stands out clearly in my memory. A woman named Nena arrived with her teenage stepdaughter, Chinyu. Their relationship had been filled with arguments, silent treatment, and bitterness. Chinyu barely looked at her stepmother, and the woman's face carried the frustration of someone who had tried and failed many times. "Mama Rose," Nena said with trembling hands, "I heard you help families. Please help us." My stepmother looked at both of them quietly for a moment. Then she smiled gently and asked them to sit. "Tell me the truth," she said. "When did the love between you two break?" Nena's eyes filled with tears. "She never accepted me." Chinyu looked away. "You replaced my mother." To my surprise, Madam Rose didn't rush to give advice. She let them really speak, for more than an hour. When they finished, she held both their hands and said, "Love cannot force its way into a closed heart, but kindness can knock gently until the door opens." Then she shared her own story. How she came into our home, how she was received with suspicion, how she cried secretly because she feared we would never accept her. Her honesty melted the tension in the room. Before leaving, mother and daughter hugged each other. It wasn't a perfect hug, but it was a beginning, and beginnings are powerful. After they left, my father looked at her and said, "Rose, do you know you have become a healer?" She smiled softly. "I am only giving what I wished someone had given me when I was younger. Understanding." Her reputation grew even more when a popular radio station in Owerri invited her for an interview. They wanted her to speak on a program titled, "Changing the Narrative." I remember the excitement in our home that day. My brother wore his best shirt as if he was the one going on air. My father ironed her dress 3 times. I held her hand as we entered the radio station. When the interview began, the host asked, "Madam Rose, how did you become the most celebrated stepmother in Imo State?" She laughed shyly before answering, "I didn't set out to become anything. I only set out to love." Her words were so simple that the host paused. Even the sound engineer looked at her through the glass window. She continued, "In movies we see the wicked ones. In real life, many stepmothers are trying their best. Some don't know how to show love because they never received love themselves. But we all have a choice. We can choose to love. We can choose to be kind." The phone lines began buzzing. Call after call. People shared powerful testimonies and thanked her for inspiring them. A man called from Enugu and said, "Madam, because of you, I apologize to my stepmother after 5 years of fighting." Another caller said, "You have changed my opinion about stepmothers. Thank you." My stepmother cried quietly during some of the calls. Not tears of sadness, but tears of gratitude. That broadcast reached places we never imagined. A week later, journalists appeared at our compound. 2 weeks later, a Christian organization gave her an award for promoting unity in families. 3 weeks later, a women's conference invited her as a keynote speaker. The world was finally learning her name, and learning the truth. Not all stepmothers are wicked. Despite the recognition, she remained grounded. Every morning she swept the compound. Every afternoon she cooked for us. Every night she prayed for the family. She never acted like a celebrity. She never boasted. She never changed her routine. One evening I asked her, "Mummy, does all this attention bother you?" She turned to me with a smile. "Ada, fame means nothing if your home is empty of love. You children are my priority." Her words humbled me. But the most beautiful moment in this chapter of her life came when Imo State decided to launch a campaign to encourage positive parenting. They chose my stepmother as the face of the campaign. They organized a grand event at the government hall. The banners read, "A new narrative, kindness in families," featuring Madam Rose, the best stepmother in Imo State. Government officials attended. Religious leaders attended. Traditional rulers attended. Parents from different towns attended. When she stepped onto the stage wearing a simple white lace dress, the entire hall stood up and applauded. My father's eyes filled with tears. My brother squeezed my hand out of excitement. She didn't give a long speech, just a heartfelt one. She said, "I am not perfect. I am not a saint. I am simply a woman who believes love can heal families. Let us stop teaching children that stepmothers are wicked. Let us teach them that mothers come from the heart, not only from the womb." The hall erupted in applause. After that day, society's view began to shift. People started questioning stereotypes. Parents became more mindful. Children became more open-hearted. Because one woman dared to be different. That night, as we drove home, I looked out of the window at the big billboards glowing in the city lights. Her smiling face on each one. And I felt proud. Deeply, unbelievably proud. My stepmother was not just a good woman. She was a light that pushed back years of darkness, fear, and misconceptions. And her story was still not over. Years passed, and life in our household continued to flourish under the warmth, peace, and unity that Madam Rose brought into our lives. People still talked about her kindness, her gentleness, and her patience, but inside our home, these things were not mere stories. They were our daily reality. Every morning, she woke us with a smile, calling each of us by name, asking how we slept, and blessing our day with short prayers. She was the kind of woman whose presence calmed every storm. By now, the entire community knew her story. They had heard how she came into a home where suspicion waited for her, where people whispered behind her back, and where many believed she would eventually show her true colors. But the only colors she showed were kindness, love, and humility. And because of this, her legacy began to spread across Imo State. Even the local schools started teaching little children that Not all stepmothers are wicked. They used Madame Rose as an example, telling pupils that love is not defined by blood but by the heart. Posters with her smiling photo hung in community halls, churches, and even hospitals. Everywhere she went, people greeted her with respect. "Good afternoon, Madame Rose. You are a blessing, Ma. God bless you for the way you raised your children." Some people even traveled from remote villages just to come and see her. Others came to ask for advice on how to handle stepchildren or how to rebuild broken homes. She always welcomed them, offering them seats and listening carefully before giving her gentle words of wisdom. One day, on a bright Saturday morning, I found her in the garden, watering the flowers she planted years ago. They had grown beautifully, colorful, tall, and full of life, just like our home. I walked up to her and said, "Mummy Rose, do you know that you are a blessing to this family?" She turned to me with her gentle smile. "Ada," she said softly, "love is easy when you give it freely. The mistake many people make is thinking children are enemies. But children are gifts, and if you want God to bless you, you must treat His gifts well." Her words touched my heart deeply. Sometimes I wondered what would have happened to us if she had never become part of our family. Would our house still be as peaceful? Would we still be as united? Would we have learned the lessons of love and kindness that now shape our lives? Truly, God sent her to us. As the years rolled on, something beautiful happened. The government of Imo State decided to recognize women who played positive roles in blended families. Madame Rose was at the top of their list. A grand event was organized at the Civic Center, attended by government officials, traditional rulers, community leaders, teachers, and many local families. On the day of the event, she wore a simple but elegant lace gown, and her head tie was tied neatly by my elder sister. When we arrived, everyone stood up and clapped. Some even wiped their tears. She didn't walk like someone who had become popular. She walked slowly, humbly, holding my father's arm as the usher led them to the front. When her name was called, she stepped forward to receive her award, Imo State Role Model Award, Best Stepmother of the Year. A loud cheer filled the hall. Cameras clicked non-stop. Women ululated. Children jumped and clapped. My father's eyes were full of pride, and for the first time, I saw him wipe away a tear. When she took the microphone, she said something that made the entire hall go silent. Being a stepmother does not mean you are a stranger. It means God trusted you to love a child who did not come from your womb but came to you through destiny. I did not do anything special. I only tried to be a mother because motherhood is not tied to blood. It is tied to love, patience, and responsibility. People stood up immediately and clapped. Some shouted, "God bless you." Others simply nodded in deep respect. After the ceremony, a journalist approached her and asked, "Madame Rose, how do you feel being celebrated like this?" She smiled and replied, "It is not about me. It is about changing the story for the next generation. If one woman somewhere decides to love her stepchild because of this award, then my mission is complete." Her statement went viral. The state government used it in a campaign video. Churches preached sermons about it. Social workers used it in seminars. Even Nollywood producers called, asking to make a movie inspired by her life. One day, a government official arrived at our home with surprising news. They wanted to put a billboard of Madame Rose across major roads in Imo State. The billboard displayed her smiling picture and carried the message, "The best stepmother in Imo State. Not all stepmothers are wicked. Treat your stepchildren well. Love can heal any home." Whenever we drove past the billboard, we felt proud. Children pointed at it and waved. Some adults took pictures beside it. It became a symbol of hope. Despite all the fame, Madame Rose remained the same. She still cooked for us, still prayed with us, still corrected us gently, still listened to our problems, and still told me, "Ada, evil news flies like harmattan fire. But goodness also spreads, if we live it loudly." Her words stayed with me. Years later, when I got married and had my first child, I brought my baby to her. She carried the child gently and said, "Your mother is proud of you, and I am proud of you too." I cried that day, not because I was sad, but because I finally understood the depth of her love. When I look back at my life, I realize something important. She didn't replace my mother. She honored her memory by loving us. She became our shield, our teacher, our comfort, our blessing. Today, when people ask me about my stepmother, I smile and say proudly, "My stepmother is a good woman." The society may paint stepmothers as wicked, but my life is proof that goodness exists. Madame Rose changed our story. And because of her, the world began to see stepmothers differently. Her legacy is simple. Love loudly. Love boldly. Love unconditionally. And that is how a woman who came into our lives unexpectedly became one of the greatest blessings God ever gave us. If Madame Rose's story touched your heart, remember this. Love can heal, kindness can change lives, and one good heart can rewrite the narrative for an entire community. Like this video if you believe in the power of love beyond blood. Comment below and share your story of a stepmother, parent, or guardian who made a difference in your life. Share this video with friends and family to inspire others to see that not all stepmothers are wicked. Subscribe to Tales by Savvy Sam for more real-life African stories that uplift, inspire, and celebrate the power of love and goodness. Let's celebrate real heroes like Madame Rose and show the world that kindness always wins.